Hey guys, this is Chris and Sergey with the Bible Buzz, where the only buzz you need is the Holy Spirit. So in this video, we have Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro. And what does Ben Shapiro think of Jesus, and who is Jesus to Ben Shapiro? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this video up, and we're going to play it, and then we're going to review it and tell you what we think. Okay.
Jewish point of view, or we don't believe in the divinity of Christ. I think that there you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written,
he was just a prophet, and
significant. No, we don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble, just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
So he became legend in story, and it became a bigger and bigger deal as time went on.
Yeah, he had a group of followers, and then that gradually grew, and then
do you think he was resurrected?
No, that's not a Jewish belief.
Okay, I just want to check.
Yeah, no, we're not into
You're not
we're not into miracle stories. No, that's
no.
No.
Do you don't have any miracles?
No, not by Jesus. Right?
No?
They're ones in the Old Testament.
Ones?
Yeah, you've got Moses splitting the sea and all that.
What do you think happened there?
What do I think happened there?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with the Maimonidean explanation that there was. It says in the Bible there was a strong east wind. So there's a naturalistic explanation for a physical phenomenon.
Okay, so let's unpack this. So first off, Jesus wasn't a prophet, so he got that part right. You know, Muslims believe that he was a prophet. Jews just believe he was just a criminal. And I love Ben Shapiro and all, but he skirts around Jesus a lot, especially with Christianity being part of his platform. But there's a lot to unpack here. And the first one is Zechariah 12:10. To me, and I'm paraphrasing here, this is where the prophecy of Jesus to come that gets pierced by his own people, killed by his own people. So Jesus didn't come back to lead a revolt against the Romans. He came back for everyone's heart. So what do you think, Sergey?
Yeah, so basically, what I like about Ben Shapiro, there's a famous quote he likes to say, like, facts or feelings don't care about facts. But then again, like,
you mean facts doesn't care about your feelings?
Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings. And here he is, just like these are his feelings. And there's other interviews with like Craig where he just says like he's completely uninterested with this topic. And again, it's it's a little hypocritical of him to say like he doesn't care about the facts. Well, there is facts. What we know historically about Jesus is he did, in fact, he was a real person. He did die, and he did resurrect. We have over 500 eyewitness accounts showing, that they actually, saw Jesus. And many, some can say like this could have been a, hallucination and whatnot. But over 500 eyewitness accounts saw Jesus, and basically all of them had, the same story to tell. It was,
it's not even like the Jews and the Pharisees were even already part of. They even wrote and saw his miracles. Instead, we have evidence of them: the Romans, the Greeks, the Gentiles, the Jews. And by the way, Jesus was a Jew. His disciples were Jewish. And the Jesus did not like the Pharisees because they cared more about their tradition than they did God's law. And Ben Shapiro is, I wouldn't say he's a Pharisee, but he's on the cusp of being a Pharisee to Jesus' eyes because he is so blinded by the fact that Jesus was actually the Messiah in the Old Testament. And I was looking up statistics. If Jesus fulfilled over 300 prophecies, and the chance of doing that is like winning the Powerball a million times, like every day for a million years. It's a crazy amount of chance for Jesus to do all that. And we have evidence of him resurrecting as well through disciples, Romans, like the whole account. But you can go ahead, Sergey.
Yeah, basically, he was saying, Jews didn't, they didn't believe in Jesus' miracles. Well, then why in John 11:47 through 48 does it say like, what are we? The Pharisees, they gather at the Sanhedrin and they ask, what are we accomplishing? They ask, here is the man performing many signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe him, and the Romans will come and take away both our temple and our nations. So he's not just a normal person who is leading a rebellion. The Jews, unlike, Ben Shapiro said, they did believe in his miracles. They heard about his miracles. So him saying like, oh, Jesus didn't perform any miracles in the in the New, or they don't believe of Jesus's miracles in the New Testament. Well, sure they did, because there's literally accounts of the Jews, believing in the miracles, and they were actually. Why would they have him set up for trial? It's because they themselves were afraid that their temple would be taken away, their nation would be taken away. That just shows like Jews actually did believe in his miracles. So Ben Shapiro is wrong there.
Well, I will have to put this video also on a video in the future about the William Lane Craig and the versus the Ben Shapiro, where William Lane Craig laid out such good evidence and foundation, and Ben Shapiro was like, he didn't have an answer for any of it, because I don't think Ben Shapiro's actually read, the New Testament. So that plays a big role in what you believe, because if you believe in the Old Testament, which Christians go by the Old Testament too, we still read the Old Testament, we still go by the Old Testament, the Ten Commandments, but it's still, the fact remains that Ben Shapiro is so blinded by Jesus because of the way he grew up. So that plays a huge role. And it's the same with like Muslims as well, because they grow up in the fact never learning the New Testament because it's blasphemous to them. And it's even same for Christians, but Christians are more open-minded to reading the Quran, and obviously we're based off Judaism, but we're open to the Quran because we can look at the Quran and be like, wow, this is nothing like our Bible, or the grace and love of God doesn't compare. It's so crazy in the differences. But I do like Ben Shapiro. I've always liked him. He cracks me up. But he is very stern, so I hope he opens his heart up to Jesus eventually in life. That's really what I want for him the most.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems is just Jews' misinterpretation of the Old Testament prophecies. Okay, let's just take, for example, if we threw out, the Old Testament prophecies, and all we had was just the historical events about Jesus. Well, he resurrected, he died, and some say, well, he didn't die, but medical evidence shows he did die because he was pierced and out came water. So, he was dead. There's evidence of him, being buried, covered, and resurrecting. 500 eyewitness accounts. Even the timing, we have historical evidence in 33 AD in Rome, some few miles off of Jerusalem, earthquake that happened exactly at the time of Jesus's death. The temple, it was torn because of that earthquake. Some Jews say, well, he will he will rebuild the temple, but I think they fail to see that he will, our bodies are, the temple of God, just like as Jesus said. And Jesus was the only one who predicted his own death exactly to a T, lived a sinless life, and there's nobody who says, this is exactly how I'm going to die. This is exactly what's going to have to happen after my death, goes ahead and does it, and comes to, basically people, witness him after the death. There was nobody on this planet. And so even Ben Shapiro comparing just like the basic Jews leading like a little rebellion, who did it? Or give us some examples, because I don't know of any to the magnitude of Jesus who was able to predict his own death, predict all these things, actually it happening to the T 100%. We have historical evidence and facts, not based on feelings, and you just can't refute the evidence that's staring you right in the face. So
Well, yeah, and one thing about what Jordan Peterson said is there's 60,000 cross references between the Old Testament and New Testament. You can't make it up. That's what happens when Jesus knew the Old Testament so well, and he knew all what God intended, because he was the intention, he was the fulfillment of God. And that's pretty much what I wanted to wrap up before we actually wrap things up. But like I said, I'll continue to pray. I think every Christian should pray, or anybody should pray to Ben Shapiro. Hope he opens his heart and that hardened heart to soften a little bit to receive the Holy Spirit. But anyways, guys, that wraps it up for the Bible Buzz. We got some more reviews coming up. Stay tuned. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.